We're going to dive straight in today. Now, I know that not all of you are complete beginners, so for the non-beginners, you can jump ahead to the time code that's coming up on the screen now. But of course, you're very welcome to stay with us for some extra practice. Welcome to ProSpanish. We're going to start off by looking at some verbs, which are the backbone of any sentence. So we'll start off with hablar. Hablar is to speak or to talk. Very similar to speak, to talk, hablar. And you can think of blah, blah, blah in that hablar, blah, blah, blah. To help you remember, to speak, to talk is hablar. What do you think it means if I say hablar español? To speak Spanish. And some people hablar mucho. What do you think that is? Hablar mucho. Even if you've never done any Spanish before, you can probably guess it. Hablar mucho. To talk a lot or to speak a lot. Next in our list, we've got ir a una discoteca. Ir a una discoteca. We could say to go to a discotheque or to go to a disco, but I think these days it'd be more common to say to go to a club or even a nightclub. Ir a una discoteca. So ir is to go. Ir a Madrid, to go to Madrid. Ir a una discoteca, to go to a disco, a club. Next we have ir a un bar. Ir a un bar, to go to a bar. And I bet you can guess ir a un restaurante. What's that? Ir a un restaurante. To go to a restaurant. Now, if you're thinking these particular phrases aren't useful to me, I don't go clubbing and I don't go to many bars, then don't worry. The point of what we're doing at the moment is we're laying down a foundation, and when you've got that foundation, it will be very easy to layer on new language. Okay, at this point, let's go to column 1. Look at the first bit there. Me gustaría. So this is how we could start a phrase. Me gustaría, I would like. Te gustaría, you would like. So in fact, there's only one letter that's different, and that's the M and the T. So me gustaría, I would like. Te gustaría, you would like. Now, these could also be questions. So te gustaría is you would like, but it could be would you like? Would you like? In fact, that would be the more common use for te gustaría, would you like? So in fact, looking at those two columns, what would it mean if I said, or if I asked the question, ¿te gustaría ir a una discoteca? ¿Te gustaría ir a una discoteca? Would you like to go to a club? And somebody said, nah, me gustaría ir a un bar. Me gustaría ir a un bar. What does that mean? I'd like to go to a bar. How would you say I'd like to speak Spanish? What would that be? I'd like to speak Spanish. Me gustaría hablar español. Me gustaría hablar español. Okay, let's go back to our list of verbs in the middle column. Now, you don't memorize any of this. You'll just learn it naturally by following my instructions. So, to do something is the next on the list. To do something. And there's two ways of saying this, depending on whether you're in Latin America or in Spain, European Spanish. So, Latin America, hacer. So, that C in to do is like the letter S. Hacer, hacer algo. To do something. And European Spanish, in Spain, that C is always pronounced like a TH. So hacer. Hacer algo or hacer algo. And I'll just use both so you get used to understanding both. So hacer algo, to do something. How would you ask the question? Would you like to do something? ¿Te gustaría hacer algo? Or ¿te gustaría hacer algo? And the person might answer, yeah, I'd like to go to a club. Sí, me gustaría ir a una discoteca. And we'll just take a quick pause there while I mention our very popular Levels 1 to 6 course. This takes the complete beginner or a near beginner right up to a conversational level of Spanish in a series of very easy to follow steps. All the lessons on this YouTube channel are supplementary, whereas the core Levels 1 to 6 is very much a step-by-step program delivered by the same teacher as all the other videos on the ProSpanish YouTube channel. And while the style is very similar to what you'll be used to from these videos on the channel, the key difference is that every lesson carefully builds on the previous lessons so that you can really feel that progress of going from very little or no Spanish up to a level where you can confidently hold a conversation in Spanish. So again, that's available exclusively from prospanish.co.uk. Next, we've got, let's do these next two as a pair because they're quite similar. Jugar al golf, jugar al fútbol. To play golf, to play football. These are nice and easy, and all the sports are easy. So I could have jugar al tenis, to play tennis. I could have jugar al cricket. What do you think to play rugby would be? Jugar al rugby. Jugar al rugby. And let's just add another two in our first column. So I'm going to, and you're going to, or the question, are you going to? Voy a, vas a. Voy a, vas a. And you can hear the V is pronounced like a B, like a B. Voy a, I'm going to. Vas a, you're going to, or the question, are you going to? How would we say, I'm going to play golf? What would that be? I'm going to play golf. Voy a jugar al golf. Voy a jugar al golf. How about a question? Are you going to play football? What would that be? ¿Vas a jugar al fútbol? ¿Vas a jugar al fútbol? And we'll do more practice with those in a minute. But let's just finish off our verbs in the middle column. Quedar is to meet up. Quedar, to meet up. And to have dinner in Spanish, it's just one word. So think of it like to dine. Would you like to dine? Would you like to have dinner? And again, it's a bit like the to do. That C can be pronounced like an S in Latin America or a TH in Spain. So cenar in Latin America, to have dinner or to dine. And in European Spanish, cenar. Cenar, to have dinner. So how would you say, I'm going to have dinner? Voy a cenar or voy a cenar. And before we introduce the rest of the first column, let's make a start on the third column. So the first three, look at the first three. Very straightforward. So we've got with me, with you, and with Simon or Simon. So conmigo, contigo. So with me, with you. Conmigo, contigo. Again, don't try to memorize these. You will end up learning them, but just go with the flow for the moment. Conmigo, contigo. With me, with you. And con Simon, with Simon or with Simon. How would you say to play football with you? What would that be? Jugar al fútbol contigo. Jugar al fútbol contigo. How would you say to meet up with Simon? Actually, let's do all three columns. I'm going to meet up with Simon. What would that be? Voy a quedar con Simón. Voy a quedar con Simón. I'm going to meet up with Simon. And we've started, so we may as well finish that third column. So we've got mañana for tomorrow. So mañana, mañana, tomorrow, tomorrow, mañana. and we've got tonight. Well, actually, it's this night. Tonight is this night in Spanish. So, esta noche. Esta noche. Noche is night. This night, tonight. Esta noche. And finally, in the end, it's al final. So, al final, in the end. Al final. It's quite easy to remember because of the final bit. Al final, in the end. And looking at what we've got from the 3 columns, I know we haven't finished column 1 yet, but how would you say, I'm going to do something with Simon? What would that be? I'm going to do something with Simon. Voy a hacer algo con Simón. O voy a hacer algo con Simón. How would you say, would you like to meet up with me? Would you like to meet up with me? What would that be? ¿Te gustaría quedar conmigo? ¿Te gustaría quedar conmigo? How about, I'd like to go to a club tonight. Me gustaría ir a una discoteca esta noche. Me gustaría ir a una discoteca esta noche. Okay, let's finish off the first column then. So, after I'm going to and you're going to, we have I have to and you have to. So, I have is tengo, you have is tienes. If we want to say I have to, like I must, then we have to add the que. Tengo que, tienes que, I have to, you have to. How would you say, I have to speak with you? Or I have to speak to you? How would you say that? Tengo que hablar contigo. Tengo que hablar contigo. How about, you have to have dinner with me? What would that be? You have to have dinner with me. Tienes que cenar conmigo. Or tienes que cenar conmigo. So remember, the S sound in C is from Latin America, cenar, and in European Spanish, Spain, like a TH, cenar. And next we have I can and you can, but they could both be questions. Can I? Can you? Just the same. So I can, puedo, you can, puedes. So puedo, puedes. Puedo, puedes. I can, you can. What would it mean if I asked this question? ¿Puedo hablar contigo? ¿Puedo hablar contigo? Can I speak with you? Or can I talk to you? We might also say. And how would you ask the question, can you play golf tomorrow? ¿Puedes jugar al golf mañana? ¿Puedes jugar al golf mañana? And let's go down to our last one in this column. So it's I forgot and you forgot, or did you forget? So we're using the past here. And the good thing about this column here is we've got a mixture of past, present, and future. So the future with I'm going to and you're going to, and the past, I forgot and you forgot, or did you forget? So I forgot, olvidé, and you forgot, olvidaste. Remember the V like a B? Olvidé and olvidaste. How would you say, I forgot to meet up with Simon? What would that be? Olvidé quedar con Simón. Olvidé quedar con Simón. And how would you say, did you forget something? So it's just going to be 2 words. You need to kind of extract the something from the middle column. So, did you forget something? What would that be? ¿Olvidaste algo? ¿Olvidaste algo? And how would you say, I forgot to do something in the end? Olvidé hacer algo al final. Olvidé hacer algo al final. Okay, let's include everything now. How would you say, are you going to meet up with Simon? And we can actually use two items from the final column. Are you going to meet up with Simon in the end? What would that be? ¿Vas a quedar con Simón al final? ¿Vas a quedar con Simón al final? How about, would you like to do something tonight? ¿Te gustaría hacer algo esta noche? ¿Te gustaría hacer algo esta noche? And the answer might come back, I can't. I can't. And I can is puedo, but I can't is no puedo. So no puedo, we just add the no there to make it I can't. No puedo. So I can't. And the reason might be I have to have dinner with, let's say, my parents. My parents are mis padres. Mis padres, my parents. So I can't. So let's have this whole sentence. I can't. I have to have dinner with my parents. No puedo. Tengo que cenar con mis padres. O no puedo. Tengo que cenar con mis padres. And so you should be feeling really encouraged by how quickly and easily you've been able to pick up all this new language. And remember, it doesn't always have to be a 3-column grid like this. What matters with any course is how the language is sequenced and how it builds a framework that allows you to learn kind of naturally and being able to layer up your Spanish in the quickest way possible. And my levels 1 to 6 ProSpanish course does exactly that, drawing on the very best approaches and techniques to take you from beginner to a conversational level of Spanish in the very shortest time possible. Okay, so let's move on now to the part of the video that's dedicated for our non-beginner viewers. You can see that the middle column and the last column it's got the same language as the first part of the video. So we're focusing on the first column. And this is an area that can sometimes be tricky for learners. For example, you might know the theory, but find it difficult to put into practice. Okay, so let's go through it. Le gusta is he or she likes. So if we want to say he or she likes something, it's le gusta. We know that I like is me gusta, and he or she likes le gusta. It's a bit like it's pleasing to him or to her, and the him or her is le. And it follows then that he or she would like is le gustaría. It would be pleasing to him or her. The next one is to say Paula likes. So Paula likes, John likes, Miguel likes. And the important thing to remember here is that we have to say a Paula, or a Miguel, or a mi amigo. So if it's my friend likes, it'd have to be a mi amigo le gusta. Because we're saying that to Paula, it's pleasing. To my parents, it's pleasing. So always a, whoever it is, le gusta. And the same logic follows if it's someone would love something. In this case, it's Miguel would love. It could be my sister would love, my friends would love, my boss would love. It's got to be a. A Miguel le encantaría. A mi madre le encantaría. My mother would love. A mi jefe le encantaría. My boss would love. So the same logic. And the same with everyone or everybody. Todo el mundo is everyone. So if everyone likes, it's got to be to everyone it's pleasing. A todo el mundo le gusta. A todo el mundo le gusta. What would it be if it was everybody loves? What would that be? A todo el mundo le encanta. How about everybody loves pizza? A todo el mundo le encanta la pizza. And finally we have nobody feels like. It could be nobody likes, nobody loves. So nobody is nadie, so it's got to be to nobody. A nadie le apetece. Or, again, that si in Latin America, apetece. A nadie le apetece. Okay, let's put this into action. So, looking at the table, say these phrases in Spanish. Paula likes to play golf with you. What would that be? A Paula le gusta jugar al golf contigo. A Paula le gusta jugar al golf contigo. She would like to go to a club with Simon. Le gustaría ir a una discoteca con Simón. Le gustaría ir a una discoteca con Simón. She likes to have dinner. Well, let's say it'd be more normal to say she likes having dinner. She likes having dinner with you. What would that be? Le gusta cenar contigo. Le gusta cenar contigo. Nobody feels like going to a bar tonight. A nadie le apetece ir a un bar esta noche. A nadie le apetece ir a un bar esta noche. Everybody likes to play golf. A todo el mundo le gusta jugar al golf. A todo el mundo le gusta jugar al golf. Let's mix it up a little bit. So we'll use the structures in column 1, but I might mix up whether it's would love or loves or whatever it might be. So how would we say nobody likes talking to you? What would that be? Nobody likes talking to you or talking with you. A nadie le gusta hablar contigo. A nadie le gusta hablar contigo. How about everybody would love to meet up? What would that be? Everybody would love to meet up. A todo el mundo le encantaría quedar. A todo el mundo le encantaría quedar. And you probably know that if it's plural, doing the liking, then the le would have to become les. So if we want to say they like, then it's les gusta. If it's they would love, les encantaría. And the a still applies. So a mis hermanos les gusta jugar al golf. A mis hermanos les gusta jugar al golf. How would you say my friends, so mis amigos, my friends would love to do something tomorrow? What would that be? A mis amigos les encantaría hacer algo mañana. O a mis amigos les encantaría hacer algo mañana. How about they don't feel like having dinner? They're not up for having dinner. What would that be? No les apetece cenar. No les apetece cenar. And that's all we have time for in this video. As mentioned earlier, if you're looking to become conversational, a competent, confident speaker in Spanish, then head over to prospanish.co.uk so you can download the full Levels 1 to 6 course.